Happy holidays, everyone. I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to part 6 of my 2017 Christmas Marathon on Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Now, as we all know, Beauty and the Beast has got to be one of the classic animated movies from Disney, and one of my childhood favorites, with beautiful animation, memorable characters, a wonderful story, and great songs by Alan Menken and the late Howard Ashman. Plus, the Broadway musical is a fantastic one as well. Speaking of which, I can't believe it's been about 4 Decembers since I met the original Broadway Belle, Susan Egan, at Soka University. Also, just several months ago, I blogged the 2017 live-action remake with my friend Scott Addison, who happens to have his own blog show called Go Back Movie History, or GBMH for short. And I highly recommend you guys check out that channel. Anyway, as we said before, we believe that this movie did the original Beauty and the Beast justice, with wonderful acting, especially from Emma Watson and Dan Stevens, magical effects, and wonderful songs, old and new. Anyway, for today's blog, since Christmas is almost here, I'll be looking into a midquel that takes place between the 1991 animated movie. But what do I think of it? Well, let's find out. Released to home video on November 11th, 1997, the movie is Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas. Now let's get started. Belle prepares the castle for Christmas against the Beast's wishes, trying to bring him happiness for the season. Meanwhile, the castle's pipe organ, Maestro Forte, becomes opposed to Belle's presence, as well as her holiday decorating and schemes to put an end to both her relationship with Beast and any Christmas festivities to boot. So, what do I think? Well, as I said before during my blog on the 2017 live-action remake, this movie is a guilty pleasure for me. Plus, it's a lot better than Belle's Magical World that came out a year after this movie. But, in order to explain why, let's move on to Mustang notes. Now, Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas was put on a direct-to-video release after The Return of Jafar and other sequels based on theatrical films, which were having success on the direct-to-video market. The film was the first product of a subsidiary of Walt Disney Television Animation's Toronto studio. The studio was shut down in 2002 because of studio cutbacks. Animation coordination was done by Walt Disney Television Animation's Sydney studio and Wang Film Production Company, located in Xindian District, located in Taiwan, and Characters Builders. In the early stages of production, the film was going to have a sequel to the original movie. The film was to feature Avenant, here depicted as Gaston's younger brother, as the villain. Avenant's goal was to avenge Gaston by ruining the lives of Belle and Prince Adam and threatening to kill them, reportedly using sorcery to transform Adam back into a beast. Although he was cut out of the story and the plot had changed, this trait was given to Forte, the pipe organ, who did not want the beast to become human again. This plot was inspired by the 1946 film, which inspired the first movie, and where Avenant was the villain and inspiration for Gaston. What's more, the movie won 2 WAC awards for Best Direct-to-Video Production and Best Director of Home Video for Andrew Knight. Now let's talk about the animation, and in my opinion, the animation is pretty good. Not as good as the original, but it does capture a nice wintry setting. Plus, the Beast Castle looks equally as enchanting here as it did in the first movie. I also like the new rooms, like the attic, the boiler room, and the pipe organ room. I also like that this movie takes place on Christmas Eve, not too long after Beast saved Belle from the wolves. Also, while the original film depicted the Enchantress's transformation of the Beast with stained glass windows, the Enchanted Christmas reenacts this event with an animated sequence, while also including the servants' transformations as well. Plus, Cat Susie as the Enchantress is very haunting. One of my favorite parts of the movie is when Mrs. Potts calls Fife a little toot, which almost reminds me of this old cartoon from Melody Time. And I also like the part where Lumiere rides on Cogsworth through the snow like a snowboard. This gets followed by a really intense scene where Belle and Chip are in the middle of a crisis where they lose their Christmas tree and they get dragged under the ice thanks to Fife scaring Philippe with his off-key piccolo voice. You know, in my opinion, that scene almost reminds me of a similar scene from Balto. Now here's we come to the music and songs. Now, the original score and songs were composed by Rachel Portman, with lyrics written by Don Black. Now, firstly, we have the only classic Christmas song in the movie, Deck the Halls, sung by the movie's chorus. You know, nothing much other to say other than the fact that this song is a Christmas favorite. But later on in the movie, Forte sings his own cover of Deck the Halls, which isn't really as good as the version from the beginning of the movie. Next, we have Stories, sung by Belle, while she makes a special Christmas present for the Beast in the form of a storybook. Fun fact, this song is based on the motif in the finale of Jean Sibelius' Symphony No. 5. And in my opinion, this is a really enchanting song, and it does fit with Belle's character. Plus, I just love how the animation is for each page's illustration throughout the song. Next, we come to the best song in the entire movie, As Long as There's Christmas, sung by Belle and the rest of the servants as they decorate the castle for Christmas. In my opinion, this is a really wonderful song. Plus, I believe this song is about finding hope during Christmas time, and that's what makes this song really special. Plus, the song gets a reprise sung by Angelique while Belle is in the dungeon, and during the end credits, sung by Pabo Bryson and Roberta Flack. Next, we come to the villain's song, Don't Fall in Love, sung by Maestro Forte, while he displays his plan on keeping the Beast away from Belle in order to stop the spell from breaking. To me, this song is very twisted and haunting, like when Forte makes his music take on many different shapes, like evil cupids, for example. And finally, we come to the weakest song in the movie, A Cut Above the Rest, sung by Lumiere and Cogsworth. While this song does reference Lumiere and Cogsworth's rivalry, and it does show how teamwork and friends are very important in life, and it is very comical. However, the reason why I say it's the weakest song is because of two reasons. One, it's too short. And two, Belle's solo kind of ruins this song for some people. Anyway, now that we're done with Mustang notes, animation, and songs, let's talk about the characters and their voice actors. Our main heroine, Belle, is once again voiced by Paige O'Hara, who did have a little cameo in Disney's Enchanted. She also got to be in stage versions of Oklahoma back in 1986 and Les Miserables in 1995. To me, Belle is a very beautiful, brave, and bright girl, and I like that she believes that a bit of Christmas could bring the Beast some good. I also like the scene where she goes ice skating with the Beast. Plus, the book that she made for the Beast is a wonderful Christmas present. Plus, the story that she wrote gave the Beast the gift of hope. Next we come to the Beast, aka Prince Adam, who is once again voiced by Robbie Benson, whom I talked about before in my Crippled Lamb blog last Christmas. He also got to be in The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus from 2000 and PJ Sparkles. While the Beast is a spoiled jerk again like he was in the first movie, his reason for hating Christmas makes him very sympathetic. However, I did like the scene where Beast saved Belle from the ice and smashes Forte's keyboard. Plus, the scene where Beast changes his mind about Christmas after reading Belle's story really touched my heart. The Beast's servants are as follows: Lumiere, voiced by the late Jerry Orbach; Cogsworth, voiced by David Ogden Stiers; and Mrs. Potts, voiced by the legendary Angela Lansbury. In my opinion, these guys are great supporting characters, as they were in the first movie, and I really like how they support Belle with Christmas in their own special ways. Sadly, Riley Pierce didn't return to voice Chip, so instead, his voice was provided by then child actor Haley Joel Osment, best known as Sora from the Kingdom Hearts series, and he also got to voice Mowgli in The Jungle Book 2, Barry Barrington in The Country Bears, and Zephyr in The Hunchback of Notre Dame 2. I really like Chip, because he has a bigger role in this movie than he did in the first film. And I really like how he supports Belle with Christmas, like helping her find a Christmas tree. Now let's move on to the new characters, starting with Angelique, voiced by Bernadette Peters. Best known from Annie from 1982, Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella from 1997, the Animaniacs movie Wacko's Wish, Don Bluth's Anastasia, The Land Before Time 10, The Great Long Neck Migration, and of course, Legends of Oz, Dorothy's Return. Now, Angelique used to be the castle decorator before the spell was cast. When Belle and Lumiere asked her for help with Christmas decorating, she initially opposes preparing Christmas, as she fears that the Beast will destroy her hard work. But Belle informs her of all the enjoyable things about the holidays. Later on in the movie, Angelique comforts Belle in the dungeon, and afterwards, nearing the end of the movie, she helps with Christmas and the castle decorating. Next we come to an axe, voiced by veteran voice actor Jeff Bennett. This guy is in charge of the castle boiler room. To me, the axe is a bit of a chatterbox, but he is a pretty funny character, but generous at the same time, when he lets Belle browse through his logs. And I like when Belle uses him to cut down a Christmas tree, and when he cuts through the ice to save Belle and Chip. Plus, I find it funny when he mentions Hanukkah in this movie. Next, we come to Fife, a piccolo voiced by Paul Reubens, whom folks know as Pee Wee Herman. He also got to be in Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, and Matilda, as well as, the Groovenians. In my opinion, while Fife serves as Forte's sidekick, I find Fife to be a pretty funny character. Plus, my sister told me that he sounds like Felix the Cat, in a way. Throughout the movie, Fife appears more of a nuisance to the main characters, as well as an idiot and a troublemaker. He's also shown to fawn over Belle from time to time. Despite his previous antics, Fife has a warm-hearted personality, and ends up rooting for Belle and the Beast at the end of the movie. He also gives the Beast information on how to defeat Forte, and eventually, Fife lives his dream of having his own music solo, and becomes maestro of the castle. Finally, we have our main villain, Maestro Forte, voiced by the great Tim Curry. Best known from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost, The Cat Returns, Ferngully the Last Rainforest, Barbie and the Nutcracker, The Wild Thornberrys, and of course, the original 1990 TV version of It. Anyway, Forte used to be the Beast's court composer before the spell was cast. As a pipe organ, Forte finds himself to be more useful to his master as a composer, and he's willing to do everything in his power to stay in that form, even if it means to stop Belle and the Beast from breaking the spell. Now, to be honest, I really like this character. He's sly, twisted, and very manipulative. Plus, in my opinion, I think he's a better villain than Gaston. Also, by looking at him, I think it's interesting that Forte is the only character in the movie who is computer generated, while everyone else is hand-drawn. What's more, he kind of reminds me of Captain Nemo's organ from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and Zaldan from Kingdom Hearts 2. Plus, Forte isn't the only Disney talking organ around. If you don't know what I'm talking about, play Epic Mickey and you'll find out. Anyway, some of my favorite scenes that Forte is involved with is when he yells that he's bolted to the wall, which I find pretty funny, and when he plays enchanting music that lures Belle to him. You know, in my opinion, that music sounds almost like music that would be played in Harry Potter. Also, to me, it's very creepy when he tricks Belle and Chip to go to the Black Forest to find a Christmas tree. Lastly, the scene where Forte plays his music to cause the castle to collapse is very intense. But, on the other hand, I'm glad that Disney made a good guy version of Forte for the 2017 live-action remake. And now, let's move on to my final words. Overall, Beauty and the Beast: The Enchanted Christmas may not be a good movie to some of you, but I still think it's a decent movie to watch during the Christmas season. The animation is still pretty good, though not as good as the originals. The characters like Belle and the Beast are still good characters, and I like that Chip gets a bigger role in this. The other characters, like Lumiere, Cogsworth, and Mrs. Potts, are still wonderful, lovable, and funny. Also, the new characters like Angelique, the Axe, and Fife are very decent. and the villain, Forte, is a very threatening Disney villain. What's more, most of the songs in this movie are very enchanting to listen to. And the story really does warm my heart during this festive season. If you'd like to watch this movie during the Christmas time, then by all means go right ahead. But I cannot stop some of you from hating this movie. Besides, we all have our own taste in movies. So, I give this movie an 84% out of 100. Well, that's all for today, everyone. Be sure to join me for my final Christmas blog of 2017. Because, when the time comes, it'll be time to return to Swan Lake again. Mustang power!